Fellow FPL managers, today is an important day. It's a special day because we are looking at my wildcard team selection. So I am one of the few managers that actually used their free hit in game week 29 and saved my wildcard for blank game week 34. Now, going into this wildcard, I do have a bench boost left remaining, but either way, whether you have bench boost or not, I do believe this is arguably the best selection of players you could have for your wildcard in game week 34. You just may end up having a few extra points on the bench here and there, which, it's a good problem to have, having too many options, so don't worry about it. This wildcard also helps set you up for the potential double game week in game week 36 and the potential blank game week in game week 37. And we're going to be looking at how this team sets up in future game weeks, how it can take us to the end of the season with the predicted doubles and the predicted blanks, and how we can cover ourselves either way, no matter who has a double and who has a blank. It's very flexible, and I'm a huge fan of this team. I don't think I'm going to be making many more changes to it whatsoever. So let's get into the team. For the defense, we got two goalkeepers, obviously. We got Sells, who's playing this game week, and Martinez, who is on a blank. Now, both of these goalkeepers have potential for a double. They could both end up doubling. They could both end up having a single game week, but they both have a pretty good fixture either way. Then in the defense, we have two Man City defenders, which is a little bit risky because Luis Diaz minutes aren't super secure, but Gvardiol's definitely are. I'm a huge fan of the Man City defense because their fixtures toward the end of the season are really good. They're the most likely team to double in game week 36, and there's no good attackers to choose except Marmoush. The City defense is solid. City are on good form. They're winning most of their games now. They're looking fairly unstoppable. So as long as these guys are starting every game, which fingers crossed, hopefully they will, I'll get a few double up clean sheet points on Man City that will give me good green arrows because it's a good differential to have. There's not going to be a lot of people running double Man City defense. I would go for Edison, but he is a little risky as he appears to be badly injured. He might not be back for the next few game weeks. As for the three defenders who are actually playing this game week, we have an amazing lineup. This is what a lot of back threes are going to look like in the free hit. We've got Livramento home to Ipswich, Aït-Nouri home to Leicester, and Robinson away to Southampton. When looking at defenders I want in this wildcard team, I need a few requirements to be met. I need their fixtures to be good up until the end of the season, but more importantly, I need all my defenders in double game week 36 to have a good fixture, whether they double or they play a single game week. When you bench boost, there's going to be one goalkeeper and two defenders. So your bench boost success usually is determined by how well the defenders do. Luckily, when we look to the future plans, you guys will see why I'm a huge fan of this back five to help with my bench boost coming up. In midfield, it kind of picks itself a lot of obvious options here. Guys, we have Salah, obviously. That one's a no-brainer. I've chosen Harvey Barnes from Newcastle, who I think is the most nailed Newcastle attacker. But if my opinion on that changes, I could make a last-second switch. But for me, I think Barnes is the most nailed because Murphy and Barnes started the last game. Gordon was subbed on in the 60th minute for Jacob Murphy, which was strange because normally Barnes and Gordon share that left side, which to me shows with Barnes' good form, he has now nailed a spot in that Newcastle attack. I've chosen Jarrod Bowen. He's not going to be in the team for very long, but I like his next two fixtures, even though Brighton away isn't the easiest. He's the best midfielder I could find across game week 34 and game week 35 that suits my plans, so he's in the team. Then we got Kluivert playing a great fixture, home to Man United, an incredibly shaky defence, and he can carry us out all the way through till the end of the season. He actually has been a little underwhelming since everybody brought him in. He had a couple double-digit hauls, in the past, everyone brought him in, and he's done all right. He's got a couple of goals and a couple of assists, but nothing too special. Either way, he's only 6 million, insanely good value for how much he's costing, and he's a penalty taker on a team that's on pretty good form. Then we have Mbeumo. Even though he's playing away to Forest, guys, he is still in the team. Way too scary to go without. High ownership, and on the whole, a decent fixture run to close out the season. I was looking at the likes of Bruno Fernandes ahead of either Bowen or Mbeumo, but ultimately, despite how good he is as a player, he costs a bit more than these two, and the fixtures for Bruno are not as easy as the ones Mbeumo and Bowen have. Despite on paper right now, Mbeumo and Bowen are the only ones here without a green fixture, I still prefer them over Bruno. Just about. Then the front three, we've got Marmoush, who isn't playing this week. That's our City triple up, hoping they get to the FA Cup finals and get that double game week in game week 36. Along with Isak, a fairly obvious pick for me, and then Cunha, another fairly obvious pick. They play home to Ipswich and home to Leicester this game week, and the fixtures going towards the end of the season. Some of them aren't great, but they're amazing FPL assets who do have a couple good games, mix them with a couple hard games, which isn't really a problem for these two because they can score in the tough games anyway. So into the plans now, guys, lining up for game week 34. Obviously, we have 4 players blanking, so this one is fairly self-explanatory, not much to talk about here. Game week 35 isn't exactly sensational. We've got, some good fixtures in the defense. Some of the attackers can do bits for me here. I know it says Salah captain in this photo, but I may be wanting to captain someone else. I haven't really thought about future captaincy too much. And this team here, it requires 0 transfers made, so we can go into double game week 36 with 2 free transfers to bring in some extra players to help secure my bench boost and make it even stronger. So yeah, on the whole, not a sensational game week, but it is crucial to help me set up for the next few towards the end of the season. Now with this team here, I've made 2 free transfers. I've got Bruno in for Bowen, and I've got Milenkovic in for 8 Nori to make this absolute beast of a 15-man squad on my bench boost. Now, looking at these doubles, they are not confirmed. They are only what is predicted to come. There may not even be a single double in game week 36, but there could also be 4 teams doubling depending on where their fixtures get moved to and who qualifies to the FA Cup final. And this here is the most likely scenario. So I know what you're thinking, I'm tripled up on Man City. What if they don't double? Have I just wasted my wild card and picked the wrong players? No. Because if Man City don't get through to the FA Cup final and double, it means Nottingham Forest will, and I have triple Nottingham Forest anyway. So we're planning for multiple scenarios here, very flexible, like I said earlier in the video. And this team looks absolutely lethal. I'm happy with the way the bench looks. It's an honest to God bench, Robinson home to Everton, Livramento home to Chelsea, Sells home to Leicester. I said the goalkeeper and the cheap defenders are crucial for a bench boost success. And I like my chances with those guys. And Harvey Barnes playing home to Chelsea as the worst attacker on my team, that is sensational. He could get me some returns against an off-form Chelsea team. This is the game week that really needs to, propel me forward, because if not, I am done. Then finally, I know we're looking far into the future and, you can't really book transfers in advance because injuries could happen and form could change. This is just a general look at how things will shape out and how we'll do. And this is an example of how we'll cover blank game week 37 without a single hit. We had a good double game week, and now we're going into game week 37 with still 11 players to play. It's not the strongest lineup, if we're being honest, triple Newcastle playing away to Arsenal, pretty diabolical, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We're probably going to get a red arrow unless, some of these differentials absolutely clutch up in their tough games, which I'm okay with because at the end of the day, I've had a great double game week 36. Well, at least I'm assuming so. So that means I can have, a meh game week 37 and still cover myself quite well. So anyway, switching back to the wildcard team now, this is what it looks like, guys. I have tried multiple other combinations, tweak the defender slightly, tweak the midfielders a little bit. I've kept the forwards the same the entire way through. I think this is the best front 3 to have on wildcard. But on the whole, for me, this is definitely what works best with my bench boost remaining and how I can close out the rest of the season to hopefully get a good rank and not end up outside the top 100k because I've just fumbled such a good rank in these last 2 game weeks. It's kind of depressing. I want you guys to let me know, you fellow guys on wildcard game week 34, what would you do differently? Are you one of those people that's going to wait until game week 35 so we can get more confirmation on the double and blank game weeks? Or are you using it this game week like me? If so, what players would you change? Who would you switch out for who? I'm open for ideas, I'm 95% locked in right now. I could change my mind on a few small details. Maybe you guys can leave a comment that changes my mind. So feel free to let me know. Anyway, if you did make it this far, thank you very much for watching. You are greatly appreciated. I've loved making this wildcard team. I've had great fun with it. Spent about an hour on it because, I'm sad like that. But yeah, I'll see you all in the next video.